The chill hits like a physical blow. One day, radio silence, the echoing void left by her ghosting, the sting of her disrespect, the dehumanizing feeling of being discarded. Then, out of nowhere, she reappears. A casual text pops up, maybe a sudden like on an old Instagram post, or worse, she walks right into your space wearing that easy, familiar smile. It's an act, a performance where the past, your pain, her choices, simply doesn't exist. No acknowledgement of the hurt inflicted, no mumbled apology, certainly no explanation for the vanishing act. Just breezy familiarity, as if picking up a conversation paused minutes ago, not months or years filled with your confusion and wounded pride. The average man, starved for that connection, desperate for validation that he wasn't worthless, feels the ice inside him crack. Hope, that treacherous little ember he kept buried, flares instantly. He melts. He forgets the sleepless nights questioning his worth. He forgives transgressions she hasn't even admitted to, all because that flicker of her attention feels like warmth after a long freeze. But this warmth is an illusion, a carefully laid trap. Her return isn't fueled by sudden clarity about your value or remorse for the damage done. It's colder, more calculated. Her world, the one she chased when she left you behind, has inevitably dimmed. The thrill faded, the new attention soured, the greener grass revealed itself as barren. Now, feeling the chill of her own choices, she remembers your light, the stability, the adoration, the emotional fuel you once provided unconditionally. She's not back for you. She's back because she's cold, and she needs your light to feed on again. This isn't a reunion, it's predation disguised as homecoming. When she walked away, ghosting, dismissing, treating your loyalty like clutter to be cleared, she wasn't just leaving. She was rewriting your entire history. In her narrative, her needs, her fleeting emotions, her restless desire for something else became the only story worth telling. Your devotion. The consistency you offered. The unwavering presence. Reduced to background noise, irrelevant to the grand drama of her self-discovery. She decided, in that moment of departure, that her feelings were paramount, her freedom sacred, while the commitment you shared was disposable. She tore the shared script, declaring her chapter closed without your consent. Now, life has intervened. The fantasy she chased, the thrilling uncertainty, the new admirers, the promise of effortless euphoria, has crumbled. The grass wasn't greener, it was plastic. The attention faded fast, leaving only echoes. The thrill curdled into isolation. Winter arrived in her world, and suddenly, the warmth she so casually discarded feels essential. But understand this deeply, her return isn't a pilgrimage back to you, the person she wounded. It's a desperate scramble for comfort. She remembers the stability you radiated, the safety net you provided, the unwavering reliability that anchored her. You represent the emotional blanket she kicked off during her summer of selfishness, now desperately craved for her winter of discontent. She wants the feeling, the security, the function you served, not the complex, worthy individual she disrespected. If you fling the door open wide, offering sanctuary without demanding accountability, you become merely a placeholder. A convenient stopgap. You reward her profound emotional recklessness with the softest landing imaginable. And brother, that transaction, trading your dignity for her temporary relief, is the precise moment strong men feel their foundation crack and their hard-won edge begin to dull. You validate her belief that your value exists only in service to her shifting whims. Silence is your shield, not your sword. When she reappears, radiating casual ease, your most potent response isn't anger, explanation, or even coldness, it's deliberate, controlled silence. This isn't about playing games or nursing bitterness. It's the quiet strength of a man who respects his own journey too much to grant instant access to the one who abandoned it. She made a choice, to walk out, to sever connection, to treat your shared history as discardable. You made a choice too, to survive, to rebuild, to walk forward even through the fog of her absence. Your silence honors your choice. It draws a line. It forces the weight of her actions back onto her shoulders. If her return is genuine, if she's truly confronted the wreckage she left and seeks not just comfort but reconciliation, she won't be deterred by stillness. She won't expect a welcome mat laid over the debris. She will understand that re-entry requires crawling through broken glass, metaphorically speaking. She will initiate the hard, vulnerable work, consistent effort that rebuilds trust, not sporadic texts or nostalgic likes. She will bring clarity, not confusion, ownership, not amnesia. Anything less, the breezy, hey, stranger, the drive-by social media engagement, the sudden appearance wearing a smile that erases the past, is mere noise. Static trying to disrupt your hard-won frequency. Brother, understand this deeply, you owe her nothing. Not a reply to soothe her sudden loneliness. Not comfort to ease the chill of her own consequences. She doesn't get to skip the accountability chapter, the difficult conversations about hurt and betrayal, and simply reappear expecting the story to resume where she tore the page. Opening the door without demanding she first knock respectfully isn't forgiveness, it's self-betrayal. It teaches her that leaving carries no cost, and returning requires no courage. Your silence guards the threshold. Let her prove she's worthy of crossing it. Her reappearance isn't a serendipitous reunion, it's a meticulously laid trap, disguised as a second chance. Don't mistake her sudden presence for romance. This is a test. A calculated probe into the fortress you built in her absence. She's checking the strength of your standards, the durability of your memory, the depth of your transformation. Did the agony she inflicted forge unbreakable steel within you, or did it merely leave you brittle and desperate for any scrap of her attention? If you react with immediate eagerness, a joyful text, wide-open arms, unchecked vulnerability, you fail catastrophically. What you broadcast in that moment is a devastating message: you can devastate me, vanish without trace, and I will still reward your return with celebration. It confirms her darkest, most disrespectful assumption: your value remains conditional on her presence. True power lies in stillness. Stand tall. Let her feel the full, uncomfortable weight of her choices settling back onto her own shoulders. Make her understand that re-entry into your life, let alone your guarded emotional space, is not a given. It is a mountain she must climb, step by arduous step. If she witnesses this grounded, unmoved version of you, the man who didn't just wait but outgrew the pain, she faces a profound shock. This isn't the man she left simmering in uncertainty. This is a stranger forged in fire. Her return might be draped in regret, but recognize that emotion for what it often is: panic masquerading as nostalgia. It's the cold sweat of realizing her plan B collapsed, leaving her scrambling back towards the safe harbor she abandoned in a storm of selfishness. Don't be that harbor. Be the vast, untamed ocean that learned to thrive without her shores. Your stillness is the mirror forcing her to see the true cost of her departure. Her reappearance crackles with unspoken expectation. She anticipates the old version of you, the one who tracked her texts, jumped at her calls, whose world tilted on her axis. She's braced for the familiar tremor in your voice, the subtle desperation in your eyes, the lingering hunger for her validation that used to be so easy to exploit. Instead, she encounters stillness. Not theatrical coldness, not performative bitterness, but a grounded, almost unnerving composure. This calm indifference is the detonator. Your restraint isn't rejection, it's a mirror reflecting the gravity of her absence. She sees a man who didn't just endure the silence but metabolized it into strength. Depending on her core, this realization triggers two paths. The woman capable of genuine growth feels humbled. She softens, becomes reflective, recognizing the bridge she burned and the effort required to rebuild. But the woman driven by entitlement? She's irritated. Confused. Your newfound inaccessibility feels like a personal affront. She may lash out, accusing you of being cold, playing the victim, guilting you for moving on too fast, conveniently ignoring her own vanishing act. This reaction isn't love, it's manipulation thrashing against your boundaries. Your power lies not in reacting to her chaos, but in holding your center. Women, deeply attuned to energy, possess a primal respect for authority, not dominance, but the unwavering presence of a man who cannot be emotionally hijacked. When she senses you're no longer swayed by pretty words or haunted by nostalgia, she's forced into introspection. Your stillness becomes an unyielding surface against which her intentions are measured. She must confront where she faltered, feel the space where she lost your favor. The humbled ones lean into this discomfort, ready to earn. The entitled ones recoil, revealing their true motive, not reunion, but the restoration of control they once held over the man you used to be. Your silence separates truth from tactic. Your stillness cracks open the space for her true nature to emerge. Resist the instinct to fill the silence with your words, your needs, your unresolved pain. This is observation time. Become a master of deciphering energy, not just language. How does she speak? Is there a tremor of genuine remorse beneath the casual tone, or is it all smooth, practiced comfort? Does she ask permission to reconnect, tentatively probing the boundaries, or does she assume her old seat at your table like a returning monarch? Beware the performance. The tears might flow, the nostalgia might feel intoxicatingly warm, the apologies might sound perfectly sculpted. But that's not substance, it's a resume. And you, brother, are no longer the eager applicant. You're the one conducting the interview. The hiring manager of your own emotional space. Don't be seduced by the presentation. Women are often masters of emotional expression, capable of conjuring powerful feelings on demand. What cannot be faked is consistency over time. Watch not the initial burst of intensity, but the sustained effort. Feel not the fleeting guilt in her voice, but the depth of her investment in rebuilding what she shattered. Does she bring chaos wrapped in the familiar scent of lipstick and shared memories, or does she bring clarity? Does she offer recycled charm, or demonstrable change in behavior? True value shows up intentionally. It arrives with honesty that cuts through the avoidance, with actions that align with whispered promises, with a humility that acknowledges the bridge wasn't just damaged, it was blown apart. If she walks back in radiating the same energy, the same entitlement, the same avoidance she left with, that's your signal. Run. Because what she wants isn't a future built on mutual growth, she craves a replay of the old dynamic. And the man you are now, forged in the fire of her absence, doesn't repeat broken chapters. He demands a new story, written with better ink and far worthier characters. Your piece is the ultimate credential. Make her prove she deserves an audience with it. The ground you stand on now wasn't gifted, it was earned in the crucible of her absence. Every ounce of peace, every hard-won insight, every layer of strength you built while navigating the silence, that's your sacred territory. Don't surrender it at the first flicker of her return, mistaking her sudden nostalgia for a summons to abandon your fortress. Healing isn't a currency you spend to buy her attention back. The progress you forged, the sleepless nights transformed into resolve, the confusion crystallized into clarity, the shattered self reassembled into something stronger, that's your unshakable reward. It belongs solely to you. Her arrival, however poignant, doesn't erase the patterns she established, the wounds she inflicted, the sheer disrespect of her departure. Her tears, her sweet words, her pretty face bathed in regret, these are not absolution. You owe her no redemption simply because she remembered your name after tasting the bitterness of her own choices. She had her chance, and she rewrote the story with her exit. If any future exists, it starts from absolute zero, not from the crumbling ruins where she left you bleeding. Don't mistake her return for the closure you once craved. You don't need her confession to validate your pain. You don't need her explanations to justify your growth. What you need is to remain fiercely anchored in the man you became without her, the man who chooses himself first, always. That man doesn't beg for answers or chase ghosts through museums of memory. He observes her re-entry with calm detachment, listens with logic overruling longing, and moves with the unwavering certainty that his future is too valuable to mortgage for a replay of past pain. His power lies not in winning her back, but in knowing he will never, ever lose himself again, not even to her returning smile. Guard that truth. It's your throne.